What's going on? It's your boy Miles Cunningham. Shout out to Lucario. Shout out to all the supporters. Shout out to everybody on that bad boy membership. So we got a special show for you guys today. I got Stirling Cooper in the house. Woo. See, Stirling Cooper he's a special individual. You understand? Because he's one of the guys that are in a certain industry that actually takes the time to collaborate and speak with guys, in the red pill community, in the manosphere, in the game community. And, I just feel that that's a special thing because a lot of guys are looking up to guys like you. You understand? Because you actually live the fantasy that we want to get to. You understand? But before I go any further into that, I want you to introduce yourself. Give a story about yourself for anybody who doesn't know, because we always have new followers coming into the fold. All right, so tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Miles. Look, it's good to be here, man. It's good to speak with you again. We haven't chatted for a while. So
yep.
It's I'm Stirling Cooper. For those of you who don't know, I'm an adult film star. I'm a porn star, whatever word you want to use for that. I've been shooting porn for I've been shooting pornography specifically for about 4 years now. I've shot for the biggest companies on the planet. I've shot in multiple continents. I've shot in Australia, England, Europe. Worked for the Great Rocco Siffredi out in Europe. Worked for companies like Brazzers, Evil Angel, Kink.com, Reality Kings here in America. Prior to that, I was actually a high-class male companion back in Australia for about 4 years as well. So I've been
high-class male companion.
Yeah, that's a polite way of saying I'm a prostitute. But for women, but specifically for women. So right. For wealthy business women, they would pay me to help them relieve some stress on the weekends, give them the what we would call the boyfriend experience.
Nice.
Yeah, so I did that for a while. So I've been professionally laying pipe for about 8 years, and before that I was actually in the swinging scene for a while as well. So and nowadays I kind of pull on that experience, in swinging, escorting, and porn to help guys, help average dudes, one, be better in the bedroom, get women off, be memorable, right? And on the other half, I help them overcome problems like performance anxiety, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, and fix these issues once and for all so they can get back to having, fun in the bedroom. So that's kind of what I do these days. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I know that there's something that you wanted to talk about, and I want you to kind of introduce it. And after you introduce it, I want us to pull it back just a little bit and talk a little bit more in generalities, but I still want you to introduce the idea in general. So go ahead.
Yeah. So we were talking about, what are we going to talk about today, Miles? And I've been playing around with this idea recently of the women's emotional roller coaster, right? Because this applies to everything. It applies to game. It applies to relationships, and it also applies to sex. One of the biggest things that guys get wrong with women is that guys kind of understand that women are emotional creatures, right? Men are more logical creatures. Women are far more emotional creatures, right? But what a lot of dudes, because most guys, they don't want bad emotions. They don't want negative emotions. They don't want stress. Most guys they want pussy and peace.
Facts.
2 P's. That's all they want. They want pussy and peace. They just want to have some pussy and just fucking relax and chill and not be stressed out and not have any drama in their life. Guys don't actually want drama in their life. Women are the complete opposite, right? And this is something that a lot of guys get wrong in their interaction with women. They think that women only want the positive emotions. But why?
Because that's what we want. Yeah.
Because that's what we want, right?
Right.
But why are soap operas so goddamn popular? Why are things like 50 Shades of Grey so goddamn popular? Women actually want this sort of a roller coaster of emotions. Women want the ups just as much as they want the downs. And this is something I've been sort of playing around with lately, in my personal relationships, sort of really testing this out sort of on a more extreme level. not, I mean, I'm not out there like making people cry, but playing around with like the guy as a guy being the one who's in control of the emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is a lot of dudes will they'll get in a relationship and they'll let the woman dictate the drama. And I've learned this from a few guys who I have a lot of respect for. Shout outs to Abu American and shout out to Mr. Andrew Tate, who's a friend of mine. These guys have taught me that you should be the one like controlling the emotional roller coaster, and you should be the one that's actually, if you're the one as the guy, if you're the one who's injecting like the drama or injecting these different emotions into the relationship, then you're the one that's in control of it. And it's a far better dynamic where she's the one kind of reacting to you, be it on the approach, be it in a relationship or be it in the bedroom, than the other way around. Than her dictating the roller coaster and her being the one, like she's getting all these emotions and reactions out of you. Because she's gonna, one way or the other, she's gonna get her drama. One way or the other, she's getting that drama. She's getting that emotion. She's getting those ups and those downs.
Right, like, exactly. Hence, why they complain when things are good.
Yeah, exactly. Because if things are great, like everything is too good, I need to find something to whinge about so I can create some drama, so I can get that emotional variance that I need as a woman.
Exactly.
That's why they do it.
Exactly. See, it's crazy because as men, we talk about all the time that women are emotional creatures.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I feel like it's something that we just say. But we don't truly understand the depth of it. You understand? Like we truly don't understand that. For example, sometimes you have to make a girl miss you.
Yes.
Right.
You hit it right on the head. Keep going.
Right? So the next time you see them, the experience, the date, the time together is that much more special. Yep. You understand? It's like I think a while ago when the PUAs were very popular, there was something that they called push and pull, right? With the idea of approach and the idea of the conversation, right? Where they had this thing called negging, meaning that you would give her a compliment with like a hidden like tease in the middle of the compliment. You understand? So
like a backhanded compliment.
Right. So it's like you would say something nice, but then say something, kind of slick that was to kind of mess with her, kind of hurt her feelings a little bit, but not too much. And then say something nice again. So it was like a push and pull. And this is something that I've always thought about, meaning that everything is sex. You understand? Push and pull, ups and downs, however you want to do it. It's like the phallus is going in and it's coming out. But that's what women need. They see or they recognize the value in both situations when things are going in and when things are coming out. You understand what I'm saying?
I've never actually thought about it in that kind of context, like that she like that literally the physical is also like her receiving and losing at the same time. Damn, exactly. I've never thought, you've given me a new paradigm to think about this thing. Thank you, my man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's all sex.
It's all sex, man. Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's all sex. Everything from the conversation to the eye contact to the body language, to the shit testing to the like everything. You understand? They want to feel the bumps. They want to feel they want to get spanked and then they want to be caressed.
Yep.
They want that's why women are special to me, right? Because they actually, in a lot of ways that we may not fully understand as guys coming up in the game, they challenge us in a lot of different ways. Like, because you just talked about how men, they just want pleasure and peace. Like we're logic minded and we pretty much just want a straight path to the relaxation. Right. And then when we're done relaxing, then it's time for work. So it's a straight path to work. And then we make progress and we get things done. We make money, whatever that is. And then a straight path from there to there. And then a straight path back home to the pleasure. And then that's it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But women, on the other hand, they challenge us in the way that they take us off they kind of attempt to take us off our course.
Yeah.
To allow us to like, if we're on our path, it's like, well, I want to stop and smell the roses. You understand? Or, the classic example is, hey, hun, so what do you want for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
And then it's like, now you already know that, hey, we could just go to the steakhouse and call it a day. But she's like, I was feeling like Thai food, but not really. And maybe we should go get some barbecue, but not, I don't know. How about sushi? You want some? But the thing is, it's not that they don't really know what they want, but it's like they want to go through all the options. They want to, you understand? They want to deal with all the possibilities because their mind, like I've somebody told me this a while back, that a woman's mind, the actual nerve endings and the synapses are they shoot off horizontally. You understand? So they actually, like, the way their brain literally works is more of a broad spectrum of thought. Whereas a man, his synapses shoot off in a direct path. So whatever he's thinking of, it goes directly to it. You understand? But a woman,
they will branch out like that.
Yeah, they'll branch out
different things.
And that's again, that's the beauty of a woman, because even as a man in a healthy relationship with a woman, you have a plan, right? But where the woman comes in is that along the steps of your plan, she can see a lot of things that you may not think about, simply for that reason, that she's able to branch out and consider a lot of possibilities, right? She's able to consider the effect of different things on different people, and then bring that information back to you, which will allow you to fine tune your logical straight path as a man. You see what I'm saying? And these are things that we miss as men. A lot of us, we just get like, I hate when bitches nag, and it's like, shut the fuck up and da da da. And it's like, I get it. Trust me. Like, I've been known to tell a chick to shut the fuck up, a time or two. But the thing is that when you look at the entirety of it, and and the possibilities of it, and how to harness the abilities of a woman to allow you to think, in that way, it's like, because you always have your logical mind, but think about if you can actually tap in to the abilities of a woman to allow her to enhance your plan with her horizontal thinking. You get what I'm saying?
Like, allow her to help you think more dynamically.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Because just dealing with women is going to help that, because she's going to throw shit at you all the time.
Exactly.
Like, whether you like it or not, she's gonna sometimes you just gotta tell her to shut up.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But you can't do that all the, like, so if you do that all the time, then she's gonna know that that's your response, and she's gonna keep testing you a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But I like you mentioned something earlier about the idea of like push pull, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that guys they forget that they can actually do this as well in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's something. This is actually an idea called coquetting. That's the technical term for it. Coquetting. It's actually something this is what strippers do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a stripper, right? She'll sit on your lap and she'll grind up against your crotch with her ass, and then when you go to touch her, she'll smack your hand away. Right? She's like, I can sit on you and touch you, but you can't touch me. That's sexual push pull. Right.
Right.
So strippers are masters of this, and this is actually something I teach guys in my products and my video courses and stuff. Is I actually teach guys how to do this in the bedroom with their chick, because, like I said before, there's sort of emotional up and down, and you also touched on the idea of you need to give her that distance sometimes, so she actually she misses you, right?
Exactly.
Because you're if something is abundant, if something is always there, it loses value, right? We don't really appreciate oxygen because we have oxygen all the time. We don't appreciate oxygen until we don't have any. Until we're struggling to breathe, still we're underwater and we can't breathe. We're like, damn, I could use some oxygen right about now. I really liked that stuff. So the same thing applies with your attention, right? Your time. So if you're, but it's when women fall in love with you when they're actually not when they're away from you, when they're not around you, is when they fall in love with you, when they're missing you, like you said. That's a real key thing that guys will just constantly give a woman their attention, and if you are constantly giving your attention away for free, it loses its value. You're not valuable anymore. It's the attention that is scarce that is actually more valuable. It's what she wants to earn. She wants to work for that attention now,
right?
Because she liked her initial interaction with you. And it's like, well, damn, where is he now? I want to spend more time around that guy. But that same concept applies in the bedroom with your dick. If it's just like, if you never make her work for it, then it isn't as valuable. If she works for it, it's more valuable and she wants it more. So this applies to this idea of coquetting, right? Sexually pushing and pulling. And it's such an easy thing to do in the bedroom, and so many guys just don't realize they can do it. Like, one of my favorite things to do when I'm with a chick is I like to play what I call just the tip game. And it's got nothing to do with butt stuff, for those of you who might be thinking that. It's off rip. But it's before if I'm making out with a girl, things are getting hot and heavy, it's leading into the bedroom, there's been a bit of foreplay. Before I penetrate her for the first time, I'll lay the girl down and stare her in the eyes and make her and tease. I'll use the head of my dick to tease her labia and her clitoris and stuff on the outside,
right?
And make sure that, and look her in the eyes and make her beg for me to put it in, right? Because that's every other dude's just slamming it in there straight away. And there's a place, time and a place for that. I don't get me wrong, I like to be spontaneous and passionate sometimes as well.
Right.
But if I'm taking things a bit slower, then I'm going to make her beg for it and demand it, so that she wants it more and she earns it. And she respects that dick more. You get what I'm saying? Because she's actually had to put a little bit of effort into getting it. Because every other motherfucker is just so goddamn thirsty for pussy that even when they're getting it, they're thirsty for it. Even when they've got it there, it's already there. They're just that's the time when you can be okay, cool. I'm gonna chill for a second, so I can add a bit of emotion and play with her head a little bit here, which is a good thing.
Right, add some drama.
Add some drama. Add that emotional roller coaster in there. It's not just all positive. There's some negative in there. She's this motherfucker isn't giving me what I want. What the hell? Because you do that to a chick, I guarantee. There is no woman on the planet who is going to, when she's aroused, turned on, horny, and wants you. There is not a single woman on this planet who is going to have the not the patience, the self-discipline to be no. You're gonna out in that battle of wills, you will win.
Right.
They don't have that much willpower when it comes to when they're horny. When it comes to
dick, once you're already there, they
don't have the willpower to turn it down. So that's a great time for you to take advantage of that situation. Take advantage in a way that you both end up with a better. It's a better experience for both you and her. Right. So she's so the just the tip game is okay, you tease her on the outside, whatever. You make her beg for it, and then when you make her repeat herself a couple of times, no, what was that? Louder, honey. Louder, honey. I want to really hear you say it.
Yeah.
And then, okay, well, you just get the tip now. So and you only give her the head of your dick, and you just tease her with the head of your dick. And then she's even more sexually kind of frustrated and more turned on, and she's more God damn it, this motherfucker! Just give me your penis already.
Right.
And what will happen every time you do this? If you're in missionary position or whatever, she's going to wrap her legs around you and try to pull you into her because they don't have enough willpower to resist it. But that creates a really good dynamic where she is kind of being the sexual aggressor in the way. She is working for it. And she's enjoying working for it, you're the one. Compare that scenario, right, to a scenario where, similar to a stripper, where the guy is super thirsty, and the guy is oh man, just give me some pussy, just give me some goddamn pussy, baby, I'm blue balling over here, just give me something, baby. And she's no, haha, you don't get anything yet, and she's sort of teasing him like that, right? Between those two, you compare those two situations. which one is a healthier dynamic? It's the one in which the guy is in control.
Right.
Like both parties are happier in that scenario, both in the short term and the long term,
right,
versus the other one. So it's a great it's a tiny little, tweak you can add in the bedroom, which really sets up the relationship. If it's like a new girl, it sets up the dynamic fantastic from the start. Or if it's a long-term girlfriend, it can help to sort of fix a bad dynamic and reestablish a bit of dominance as a guy in the relationship. Because I get dudes who are, married or in long-term relationships hitting me up and who've kind of watched my video course or whatever, or have read some of my stuff, and they're like, dude, like I did some of the stuff you're teaching me, and this was the best sex we've had in like 10 years in our marriage.
Right.
And my wife is like laying there in a puddle of her own juices with this big smile she can't wipe off her face.
Right.
And it's like, yes, motherfucker, because you did shit right. Because there's a certain way that men and women are designed to interact with each other. And if you do it correctly, then everybody is happy. And if the guy's and that typically just means the dude's in charge of that emotional kind of roller coaster. He's leading her through that experience. Yeah.
See, and the thing, to add to what you said, one way is more healthy than the other way, right? Because when the woman is in charge of teasing the guy, at some point it's either just annoying to him, where he's either going to fight or flight, right? He's gonna get so annoyed that he's either gonna take it, which leads us into other things we don't really want to talk about, or he's gonna be like, you know what, you're such a dick tease, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
you understand? But then on the flip side, though, you have a guy that's in charge. You have a guy that has a certain level of awareness of the sensitivities of the entire, intimate experience. And that puts it, because a woman she's always, in my opinion, a woman is always following a man's lead. But when a man knows how to articulate the dynamics of a situation, that puts her more at attention, where it's like, ooh, though, this guy knows what he's doing. He knows and he's not like you said before, he's not all the way thirsty just to slam the dick into the vagina. He actually has dynamics. He actually has character. He actually has drama. He actually has certain, he knows how to design this roller coaster, right? This experience, because that's what, have you ever played one of those video games where they call it, I think they call it a roller coaster tycoon or or amusement park tycoon, where you have to design all of the loops and you understand what I'm saying? That's exactly what you're doing. You're actually showing yourself to be the architect of the entire experience. And because you think logically, you have a little bit more, if you're thinking logically, but you understand the awareness of the drama, you have a little bit more control of everything, especially when you already have the pussy in the bag.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. A lot of guys, the reason why they don't, they may never even get to these levels of awareness when it comes to intimacy, is that a lot of times we don't even know when we have the pussy in the bag. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys is like, oh shit, she's naked. Let me just get it as soon as I can, because I don't want her to change her mind. I don't want this. I don't want that.
I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it. She might just run away.
Exactly. Like for example, I had a guy that I was consulting with on Instagram Live, right? And he said he had issues where he would get women to his house, and then they would give him like a little bit of friction. And when they gave him the friction, he said he got frustrated, but he was trying to hide his frustration, but he would kick them out of the house. So that's him kicking them out of the house, trying to hide his frustration, but he was frustrated. So even if you're trying to hide it, the energy comes through. So I said to him, I said, listen, bro, you have to have a more of a take it or leave it attitude. Right. And if we even break down the take it or leave it, that's push and pull right there. If you think about it, you understand. But anyway, so I told him, I said, you have to have a take it or leave it attitude, and you have to be cool and even be cordial. You understand? Like, ask her if she needs to use the restroom. Ask her if she wants something to drink. You understand? Give her a minute to relax, and then you kick her out. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But
It never helps you to come across butthurt.
Exactly. That's exactly the words that he said. He said, I was trying to not show the fact that I was butthurt. I was trying not to be butthurt. That's exactly what he said. Now, I spoke to him 2 weeks later, and he said, yo, Miles, the information you gave me about being more cordial and being cool, he said, once, they give me the friction and act like they didn't want to do it. But once I'm cordial to them, he said the clothes started coming right off.
Yeah.
He said he didn't need to do anything after that. He said he would offer them a drink and offer them to use the restroom, and they never left the house after that.
Yep. Because there's an interesting point there, because that's like, there was the term that used to be used for that kind of situation was back in like the pickup stuff. Refreshing Bellingham was like last minute resistance. They used to call it LMR, right?
Yeah.
That idea of like, you get a girl home, you've had a fun interaction, a fun date, you think it's on, you get back to your place, you start making out, you start getting a bit heavy-handed, and she's giving you resistance. She's like, no, like she's stopping or whatever. We'd call that, they used to call that last-minute resistance.
Right. And
one of the things that a lot of guys don't realize about that is it's kind of it's an opportunity. I mean, some girls are going to be like 100% down straight away, clothes off, cool. That's fine. Enjoy those opportunities,
right?
But not every girl is going to do that straight away. Some girls are going to give you at least some degree of resistance, and there's a few reasons for this. One, she doesn't want to feel like a slut. That's a big one. She really doesn't. She doesn't want to feel like easy. Even in this day and age, when women are very promiscuous, whatever, they still have that in the back of their head, that subconscious need to not come across as a slut, to not be perceived as a slut, to not be perceived as easy. So that you're still dealing with that sort of biological hardware, right? But the other thing is, it's when she stops like that, it's actually, you can actually use it as an opportunity as a guy to come across as even more attractive, because if you can demonstrate that she can tell you no, and you're like, cool, no problem, let's go do something, let's do this thing over here for a second. What that actually communicates to her is that if things do get hot and heavy, when she says no, you will stop, which means you're not going to, sexually assault her, basically.
Exactly. You're demonstrating control,
and which demonstrates that you have options. That's even more important. The next layer down is that it demonstrates that you're a guy who gets laid, because a guy who doesn't get laid would get frustrated and butthurt and try to force it. The guy that does get laid can take it or leave it. The guy that does get laid is gonna be like, cool, no problem, whatever, let's just go here. It's pussy, whatever. I can take it or leave it.
Right.
And so you're working on layers of psychology here, and then she's like, okay, cool. One, I'm safe with the guy. That's one of the big ones, is that I'm safe. He stops if I say stop. Because women, you gotta understand, like you're bigger and stronger than the woman you're typically,
right.
Depends what your tastes are as a man, but typically you're bigger and stronger than the woman you're interacting with, right? So there is always that, and that's kind of what makes sex exciting for a woman, is there's always that element of danger.
Right.
Like she's attracted to something that could actually hurt her, really, but she doesn't want that thing to hurt her. She wants that thing to protect her. Right. So that thing is you, being you, the man. So with you demonstrating the ability to the capacity, the understanding that she says stop, I stop, it says that you're safe. It says that one, it says you're safe. Two, it says that you actually have options and you get laid because you're not so super desperate for it. There was something else I was going to mention there, but I lost my train of thought.
It had to do with control and the dynamics of control. So, but that in itself is it kind of illustrates the emotional roller coaster, right? Because you said they're attracted to something that can hurt them, but they also need to know that you have enough control to be safe.
Yes.
You understand? But so it's like they want to be safe in the midst of vulnerable danger.
Yes, that's a great way of phrasing it.
And see, and this is the interesting. That's what I'm saying. Women are so interesting in this way because you hear these guys, they cry about what they call female nature and so on and so forth. But my thing has always been, we need to try to understand this so we can use it to our advantage.
Exactly. Tiger got stripes, man. Tiger got stripes. So
exactly.
what are you gonna do with it? Deal with it.
Because like
act accordingly.
And and this is something that I wanted to kind of get to. Like, I wanted to ask you in general, how has, being in the industry kind of affected or improved, or, how has it affected overall your ability to relate to women? Because that's what we all really trying to do. Whether it's fucking, dating, talking, whatever, we're all trying to find the best possible way to allow our personality to mesh with the opposite sex's personality so we can relate. You understand? It's all about relating. So that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, this is one, the emotional roller coaster idea and the push and pull and the sex, everything is sex idea is a huge aspect. But can you expound on how being in the industry, like, doing work with female after female has put you in a space to where you feel that you relate to women better in general?
It's interesting because when you have sex with as many women as I've had sex with professionally, you start to see patterns.
Right.
You start to see, you're like, every woman will run around saying, oh, I'm special, I'm a special snowflake, I'm different to all the other girls, blah blah blah. And you're like, well, you all kind of like the same shit in bed. You're not all that different. Don't get me wrong, like some girls, yeah, like they're not gonna like everything, but when you start to see patterns when you've had these different types of women in different contexts, right, and you start to be like, wait a minute, like damn near like 95% of women like having their hair pulled, unless they've got like a weave in, like, and that's a particular problem with black chicks all the time. You're like, God damn it, everyone's got their fucking weave in, they've all got fake hair, I can't like pull your hair, right? Like 95% of them like being spanked. You're like, there's a similarity, there's a pattern here. They all basically like a dude who's leading them through the sexual experience. So you start to see like the similarities, like they all really respond to the same stuff in the same way typically,
right? And
two, for me, it was a big part of me being in the adult entertainment industry. One of the biggest benefits I got from it personally was it exposed me to lots of different sort of fetishes and scenarios and fantasies and role plays that I wouldn't have otherwise really explored if I'd just been a regular Joe, dating.
Right.
And so I got a deep dive into like the darker side of female nature. In particular with my work with kink.com, which specializes in like BDSM fetish pornography. I dabbled a little bit in, like a little bit of rope bondage and shibari stuff in my personal life, and I really enjoy that. But then getting into kink.com and working for them, I got to play with even more extreme toys, right? And one of the things I know, like working with them and then working with just regular studios, you just start to see the darker side of female sexuality. And, why was 50 Shades of Grey such a hit?
Right.
I mean, that book's been around for ages now, but it was still a hit. And there's a reason for it. And like, why do like 70% of women fantasize about bondage? That's a lot of women who want to be tied up.
Right.
Like, why are these sort of darker, more sadistic, sadomasochistic things so arousing to women? And I got exposed to this more and more and more. And obviously, and reading a really good book for guys to read if they want to dive into this a bit more is Nancy Friday's My Secret Garden. If you're a guy who's like kind of has limited experience with women and you're a bit hesitant or resistant to the idea that women like being kind of like a guy who's more heavy-handed in the bedroom, read My Secret Garden. It'll remove any innocence you have from your mind. But the connection I kind of
looking for a good girl.
Yeah, well, look, well, she can be a good girl,
right,
and still be a freak,
right,
in the bedroom. You know what I mean? Like, I define, like, for me, a good girl, it has to do with her interaction with you. Like, does she respect you? Does she respect?
Yeah.
Does she follow your lead? Is she's following your rules and boundaries? Does she you're enforcing rules and boundaries in your relationship? Does she follow them, or does she like, fuck this guy, I'm gonna go be a hoe? Right. Like, does she actually does she care about your approval? That's a good girl. Right. That's kind of how I define it. And that girl can be a complete freak in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of the bedroom, is she a good girl? Okay, cool. That's fine.
Exactly. So you were about to say the connection?
Yeah, the connection. But the connection I found between all this is that like, when you're a guy who is sort of more heavy-handed in the bedroom, more dominant, for another word, all these sort of BDSM kind of things like spanking, hair pulling, bondage, like pinning a girl's arms down,
Choking.
maybe even choking, maybe even slapping with different women. It demonstrates that you have the capacity for violence. And if you're a guy who has the capacity for violence, it means you have the capacity to protect her. Kind of the same way that we talked about before, where if she says no and you stop, she knows that she's safe with you. She knows that you have options. She knows you're safe with her. Right. This is the same thing. If you actually can physically dominate her, she knows that she is actually safe with you. It's kind of paradoxical, right? Because she knows, if he's able to control me and be physical with me, then he's not afraid of being aggressive. He's not afraid of being masculine. Then if shit hits the fan, I can rely on this guy. If shit hits the fan, this guy can protect me and keep me safe. Yeah, like that's like we're talking like layers here, like it's deeper psychological stuff. Definitely. But that's ultimately what it comes down to. I think that's at least the conclusion I've come to.
See, I think a part of what you're describing is a lot of guys, a lot of people in general. I don't think that a lot of people really understand the intimacy of violence.
Yeah.
Because if you consider if you just look at MMA, right? Like, forget all of the like the fighting part of it. Like you're literally, when you're grappling and all that, like you're rolling around on the floor with a sweaty dude. Like that's what you're doing. Yeah. And if you really think about it, it's not that far from sex.
Yeah, sex is a violent act, really.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So it's like and pause for anybody who needs to hear the pause. But fighting is intimate. That's why a lot of times after you fight, sometimes you could fight a guy, you can hate a guy, right? You fight him, and then he becomes your best friend.
Yeah.
You understand? Because it's like there's a when you're violent to another person, there is an extremity of emotion that you evoke in the midst of that experience with the other person. And in a lot of those experiences, that's when someone gets exposed to the true you. You get what I'm saying? And then that's what brings that connection, that bonding together, where it's like, man, like I felt when you punched me in my face, I understood you a little bit more for some reason. So that's why we have this relationship now, and so at the same time with sex, it's like you said, it's very violent. Like it's, and the thing is too, is that it's a beautiful reason, it's a beautiful way that you phrased it as calling it an emotional roller coaster, because what do we know about roller coasters? Like me personally, I love going to amusement parks and I love, joining the line. And as you get closer to the front of the line, you get this feeling like, man, like I might not make it, understand? But you pay that money for that thrill because you 99.9 times out of 100, you're going to make it. You understand? And you're actually paying money for that.
Yeah.
You understand? You're paying for the idea that you might, man, what happens if the thing breaks apart and falls and I die? But, I got to trust that these engineers built it. That'll give me just enough thrill to bring me this close to death. But I'll make it. I'll come out the other end, having experienced that thrill. And that's a part of what sex is for a lot of women, where it's like, like you said, like they're dealing with somebody that is bigger and stronger, yet still there's a level of control, meaning that I want you to bring me to the brink of, fearing for my life and having the drama of worrying, is this guy gonna choke me to death? Is this guy gonna, you know what I'm saying? What is he really gonna do to me? But then at the end of it all, it's like you get that, you get that beautiful release, and at the end you're safe. Yep. You understand?
And you know what? It's really cathartic for women too. This is something that guys don't really understand either. I had a girl come around the other night, and she was messaging me during the day. She was like, "Look, Daddy, I am super stressed out today. Something happened, blah blah. I need you to beat my ass." That's literally the word she used. I need you to beat my ass because I tied her up and we were flogging her a few nights ago. She was like, "Can I please come over and can you just beat me?" And which I like whip her with my flogger or whatever, and spank her and slap her around and stuff.
Yeah.
Consensually, obviously, because she's asking blah blah blah. But
Right.
anyway, any idiots in
Exactly.
But she was like, and you know what's fun? You know what's even funnier? She came over and she was acting kind of bratty. She was being a little bit bratty. I was like, honey, like you want me to do? I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to take my valuable time to help relieve some of your stress by beating your ass.
Right.
Well, then you're going to do some things for me around the house. Okay, fold my laundry, do my washing, put the dishes away, cook me some dinner, and then we can do this. This is a fair exchange. It's a mutual dynamic relationship. And she was doing it. She was a little she like doesn't like fucking putting sheets on a bed or something. So she was whinging about it. She was a little not heaps, but a tiny little bit of brat came out of her. A little bit of brat came out of her. I'm like, all right, noted. I've
Right.
Make a note of that.
Yeah.
So when I tied her up to my bondage horse later on, I'm like looking her in the eye. I'm like, you're a little bit bratty right now, aren't you? She's like, because she's sitting there like, hit me already. She's like, I want this thing, and you're not giving it to me yet, so I'm going to act a little bit bratty. I'm like, this is not only for your stress relief. This is to beat the brat out of you. And after like 30 minutes, 60 minutes of just incessant flogging, and you could see her transform from, that little bit of brat was not heaps, but is enough there for me to notice it. That little bit of brat is still there. And then like 60 minutes later, she's just smiling from ear to ear, being very agreeable, being very pleasant, being like, "Thank you, Daddy. Thank you. Yes, please. Thank you." Big smile. Like, I really appreciate what you do for me. It's like, okay, good. All we had to do was beat the brat out of you. Like, it's so simple. But you see, the catharsis of like pain for a lot of women, this is why I really like BDSM and bondage and flogging and stuff like that, is because it's that pain, that cathartic release is something that women really enjoy. And there's something about like the thing that really stresses women out in their day-to-day life is being responsible. Making decisions and being responsible for things really stresses them out.
Right.
And when they're in a situation, when they're like tied up and helpless, it mentally, what that does is they're not responsible for what happens now. They are free. Daddy's in charge. Daddy's taking care of things.
And that's why they need to know that you're safe, that you do have control.
Yeah.
Because
that's why, and in that situation, that's why you have things like safe words, because she knows when she can she can say "ow" and that hurts, and "ouch" and "no" and blah blah, and not actually, and you won't actually stop. Right. That's where the safe word comes in. She uses the safe word. She knows. Use the safe word. Everything stops. I check on you. That is an important and dynamic there. But it's fuck like going to a therapist's couch. Fuck like going to a day spa. Right. Most women that would get far more benefit from being tied up to a St. Andrew's cross and having their ass kicked for like 60 minutes. Honest to God, I'm like, it might be an extreme position, but I just see women come out the other end of that being like so happy, right? And like their back and their ass is just bright red, right? Like, it's just this relief they get out of it, that's the darker side.
Definitely
of women's sexuality I was referring to.
Definitely. I mean, it's interesting how a good line for me when I'm flirting is always, you look like you need to get spanked. Like, that's always a good line when you're flirting, right? But another thing I wanted to say too is that I like how you talked about how when she came over, you kind of made her do stuff around the house first. You understand? Because believe it or not, that is a part of the roller coaster, right? Yeah. That's like the waiting in line, and the first hill that click, 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 like the anticipation, right? The entire, and again, these are things that guys need to really embrace, because we never really understand when sex starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys think sex starts when the girl is naked and we're about to put our dick in. Like, no. sex starts. Oh, and look at that. Like she actually called and requested. Right now, you could have been the average guy. She could have came over and you could have like immediately, tied her up to the thing and started beating her. But it's not the same.
She won't appreciate it if she doesn't work for it. If
Right.
she doesn't work for it, she won't appreciate it. And two, the more like women fall in love with you by doing things for you.
Right.
So the more things she does for me, the more she invests in me.
Mm-hmm.
The more she's invested in our relationship, the more she's going to like me. And that's just how humans work,
right?
So that's like you kind of have to, as a guy, it's really helpful to get to a stage where pussy doesn't really mean that much to you.
Exactly. Yep.
Because then you can start to actually create these healthy dynamics in your relationship, and everything's happy and smooth sailing, and it works. And you get what you want. She gets what she wants. It's when they put the pussy on the pet, like the literal act of sex, like they're actually putting a penis and a vagina on a pedestal, and make such a big deal out of it, and they're so thirsty for it. That's when it fucks everything up.
Right.
Because, like you said, most guys will be like, oh, you want to come over? Okay, come over. Okay, cool. I'll immediately like do what you say.
Right.
Well, no, that's because if I do that, she's not going to respect me.
Right.
She has to earn it, and she knows. And even then, she came when she rocked up. She was being a brat. She didn't want to have to earn it. But I made her fucking earn it because she's always welcome to walk out the door.
Exactly.
No one's keeping her. She's here of her own free will.
Right.
She's always welcome to leave. So it's like, well, good. Then I'm going to give you what you need, not what you want right now. I'm going to give you what you actually need, so that you can be better after the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
That's man. It goes so deep, man. It really does. No pun intended, but it really does. It goes very deep because even just the prospect of in a relationship, we've been known to talk about like punishment and reward. Even the having a woman earn things. Like we talk about vetting a woman and having her earn even the title of girlfriend, which doesn't happen until after at least like 12 months of constant, dating, seeing each other, so on and so forth. Like, and these are the subtle things that are not readily available to the average person. Like, they don't notice these things. They don't notice how important it is to the dynamics of bonding, to the dynamics of the experience. Like, using an emotional roller coaster situation goes for almost everything. It's inside the bedroom, but it starts when you first start seeing somebody, when you approach somebody. Like everything is like, you have that initial, that initial sizzle of a thrill. Then you have that first hill. You go down that first hill and everything is really exhilarating, and then you got loops and you got turns and it's so many things going on. And that's why a lot of guys, like even if you look at certain things that guys complain about, like, oh, why do girls always go for the bad guy? It's like, it's little things like this. Why the bad guy will get the girl, because it might not be as healthy as what we're talking about, but she will do, like she'll go through horrible situations to come out on the other side if she thinks she's going to make it, like you have women out there that'll, sell drugs for guys and like be mules for the man that they love. Like, like, I don't know if I'm going to go to jail, but this is exhilarating and I love him and I want to do this. And you understand? And these are things that a lot of guys don't get, where it's like, even, that whole thing about being a nice guy, just giving women exactly what they say they want just up front, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's why they say nice guys finish last, because it really doesn't work. Like, this woman stressed out, called you up. Hey, I need this. And you were like, yeah, I know what you say you want.
Yeah. As
a man who understands, as a man who, knows what you need, this is what I'm going to do. And you're going to follow it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the experience that you're going to get will be that much better in the end, for you having earned this, for you having taken the time to, make me dinner, fold my clothes, whatever it was. Yeah, and you see, and there's still always sex involved, right? Because here you are putting her on an assignment, and during the assignment, she's showing you a little bit of brattiness. So that's the you understand? That's the in and out right there, where it's like, yeah, I'll do what you ask me to do, but I'm gonna be a brat while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then later on, that brattiness caused you notice that brattiness, and then you use that brattiness to even add more drama to the flogging and so on and so forth. You understand what I'm saying? All the parts are moving, and it takes a level of awareness to really understand what's going on.
Yeah, because guys who are out there sort of looking for a good girl, what they actually, what I think guys actually mean when they say that is they're looking for a pre-made woman. They're looking for a woman who kind of fits their stereotypical mold of like a 1940s housewife or something.
Right.
Like the woman who will, like, without him having to really do anything, she's going to cook and clean and blah, 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 and, you know, be submissive and doting and agreeable.
Right.
Well, maybe women were like that at some point 100 years ago. Maybe. But I'm willing to entertain that fantasy. But they're not like that now. And so you have to train her to be how you want her to be.
Right.
And doing that is understanding, part of that is understanding, like, that she has to, getting her to work for what she thinks she wants, right? Leading her through that. Like, knowing, like, when you're a guy who actually understands female nature to even a slightest bit, you understand them more than they understand themselves, man. Women don't understand themselves. They really don't. They have zero self-awareness. I mean, that's why they'll run around saying, like, I hate assholes. Why can't I find a good guy? And then they'll fuck a drug dealer. It's like, bitch, you got no clue. You have zero idea how your own brain works. And that's fine. Because I do. And I'm going to, like, I know that it's my job to be, like, kind of as exciting as the drug dealer in my own way, whilst giving you what you need. Because I'm not a bad guy. I'm not out here to ruin anyone's life. I'm out here to help men, and I'm out here to give women what they need. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I like to think of myself as the Genghis Khan of orgasms. They can all be traced back to me in some way, shape, or form through what I'm teaching, what the stuff I teach guys. Right. You know, so I'm helping. I'm like, by doing all the stuff I do where I help dudes, I'm helping women as well, man. I'm helping all these women get their rocks off properly and be happy with the man they're with. Right. I'm really saving lives, Marv. No, I'm doing God's work out here.
No, facts, man. Seriously, it's so necessary, man. It's so necessary. But with that being said, you are doing God's work. Tell the people what you got going on. Tell them about your course. Anything else you have coming up? Go ahead.
Yeah. So you got to link it right here in the chat, and probably got in the description down below on this YouTube video. This is for my my video course, Sexual Dominance Escalation, where I take guys from, I give them a spectrum of like 0 to 100, where 0 is very tame and vanilla, where some guys are, and 100 is kind of like where I'm at, where like you could get into a BDSM style relationship very comfortably. Right. And through this video course, what I do is I baby step guys all the way across that spectrum. I break things down for them so they're comfortable introducing new things in the bedroom. If there's things that they've never done before they want to try, I teach them how to introduce that to their girl, right, in a comfortable way where they're congruent, where they're leading, where it's safe. I show them all the tactical things of how to flog a girl properly, how to choke a girl properly, how to spank a girl properly, how to slap someone's face properly, in a safe way that's fun for them, fun for you. Right. And then I'm also teaching them a whole bunch of stuff about the female body. I teach them how to get girls off in different ways, all the different types of orgasms a woman can achieve. I baby step them through exactly how to do that. In this video course, I get a lot of reviews, like I said before, from dudes who've been married, dudes who've been in long-term relationships. Like, this is the best sex me and my wife have had in 10 years. I watched your course, or guys who are brand new. Like, I watched your course, and then I had a girl around, and she was like, "You're the best sex I've ever had in my life." And the dude's only had sex with like 3 chicks.
Exactly.
But he's coming across like a dude who lays pipe for a living.
Right.
So you're welcome, mate, by the way. But that's the kind of that's what I teach in this kind of stuff. And look, there's honestly nothing like this out there. And forewarning, in this course, it's real sex. You see, right. I'm literally like, I'm the one having the sex, and then I'm the one explaining it as well. So you will see penis and vaginas and boobs. Right. That comes with the territory, because it's the first. I like to say it's like the first no bullshit sex education course for men, because it teaches dudes what they actually want to know. And it's you got a guy who's actually qualified to do it, and break it down after the fact and teach you
Right.
exactly what I'm doing. So
Right.
if you want to support, Miles' channel, get it through his link here.
Yeah,
And,
please.
you get to support him and me as well. But yeah.
Yeah, man. Nah, again, again, I really appreciate you because you took all of your experiences from being in the swinging, in the escort service, and in the adult entertainment industry, and you're bringing us that knowledge. You understand? That is I think that's something pretty special because I don't really know other porn stars to do that. I'm sure you have a couple of other porn stars who they might say something, or they might say something revealing in like one or two interviews. But this is you're actually doing this. You have a full course. You got books. I'm actually enjoying your book. I think it's How to Close the Deal.
Yeah.
Where you actually spoke about LMR, which is a last minute resistance. You spoke about that in the book, and there's a lot. Matter of fact, hold on, there's something I wanted to ask you about because I was reading the book and I actually took I clipped this quote because I really liked what it said. Hold on. It says okay. A reason why I like this is because it kind of has something to do with choosing signals. But it said, thinking you should wait for things to magically happen, and then if it doesn't, it wasn't meant to be, is utter horseshit. It says, I can't think of a worse way to go through life as a man. This is the epitome of not taking responsibility for your life. You should avoid this kind of thinking at all costs.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. When I read that shit, I was like, see, that was the perfect way to, to choose the signals off the table. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because that's like magical Disney thinking. It's
exactly.
Like, what's the plot and the narrative of every fucking Hallmark movie or Disney romantic comedy? It's the dude blundering around being a buffoon, and then the woman eventually is like, you know what? All these attractive masculine men over here, fuck them. That's the guy I've been missing out on the whole time. He just had to wait around.
Gold.
He just had to wait around long enough, and then I would eventually pick him. Like, and you look at this, like any time. I think I tweeted about this recently. Every bit of dating advice I have ever seen a woman give to a man can basically be summed up as just wait for things to happen. If you really break any time a guy has ever asked a woman, what should I do in this situation? What should I do in that situation? How can I be more attractive to girls? How can I do this? How can I do that? It's some combination of just be yourself, which equals do nothing,
right?
and or just wait for things to magically happen, because that's what happens to women. That's all women do. That's all a woman has to do. She just has to sit around and wait for things to magically happen.
Exactly.
But that is shit advice for men, because men have to go out and actually make things happen.
Right.
So don't sit around and expect the Disney Hallmark fantasy to come true. It's not going to come true.
Right.
And make your own fucking fantasy instead.
Perfect. So again, that was an excerpt from your book, How to Close the Deal, right? And there are other books in the set with his course, and then I was looking through that shit is extensive.
Thank you. Yeah,
just actually trying to click on everything. I was like, yo, this is heavy.
There's a lot. It's like 5.5 hours of video breakdowns.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's not I undersell this shit. I'm like, there's nothing like this on the internet. Like, it is comprehensive. It is worth well more than what I charge for it.
Right.
But it helps guys, and I really like that. And look, if you guys don't have the budget for my products, whatever, cool. I have a YouTube channel. Just type in Stirling Cooper into YouTube. You'll find my channel where I give out a ton of free advice as well on overcoming bedroom performance issues and being better to bed. So there's a ton of free stuff there as well. If you don't have the money for that kind of stuff, for the full shebang at this stage, or you're not quite ready to trust me yet, look at my YouTube channel and then apply some of the things I teach there, and you'll know that I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Man, look, again, man, I really appreciate you. We definitely need to do this again.
Absolutely.
It was my bad. I'm just absent-minded with collaborating, because I'm still trying to get my numbers up and all that stuff. But I really appreciate you for reaching out, and we got to do this again real soon. Like whenever you have an idea that you want to introduce, man, let's get it going, man. Let's get it going. And I'm just curious because I know you're a traveling guy. Where are you at now?
Right now, I'm in Miami, Florida.
You're in Miami. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I've moved here. I've moved here now. This is where I'm going to be based for the foreseeable future.
Oh, nice.
Although next week I am going to the Ukraine. So
you see,
I can't help myself, dude. I can't help myself. I'm like, I'm living here now. All right, plane ticket.
Nice. But as always, man, safe travels. Look, we really appreciate what you do. We really appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom that you put out to help guys with their relationships and with their own ideas of themselves. You understand? That's what's most important. And thanks a lot. What else is there? You have anything else you want to say?
No, that's it, man. Yeah, like if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, if you do Twitter, at Stirling Cooper X is my Twitter, and my Instagram is at Cooper Stirling. I'm not as active on there, but if you guys are just curious, that's where I'm at. And look, dude, Miles, thank you for having me on, man. It's always good. I like conversations with you, man. We flow back and forth pretty well, so it's always good fun.
That's facts. All right, man. So that's the end of the show, guys. Everybody that's in the chat that was hanging out with us. April, thank you for hanging out and putting in some of the links in the chat. K Zaggin, shout out to you for hanging out with us. AT, Saints. Everybody else that was hanging out in the chat, really appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Hope you're catching this on the playback as well. And I hope you guys are having a great day. And always remember, the truth is inside you. Peace.